Like I was reading this article wherein there was a fascinating observation that this is a World Cup like no other. This is a World Cup year like no other, just because of the scheduling of the World Cup itself, which is very different from the middle of the year, right? Typically, it happens during June, July. This time it's in November, December, thanks to the climate of the location where it's getting held, which is why the interplay between the club season and the World Cup, and hence the planning at the club and the international level, is fascinatingly different from any of the other World Cup editions. So, which is why some players who regard their national team with probably a little more importance and love because of their history and what they want to achieve at Qatar, they're sort of treating this club season very differently. And there are these rumors about some of the top players who we will see in a couple of months' time, that they're not really putting in their best for their clubs, etc. So we felt that it's absolutely a great time to put a lens, a really magnifying lens, on all our squad members, 28 of them who are going to be a part of the two friendlies against Honduras and Jamaica in this month. And also a few more fringe players who are in consideration, who probably will get the flight to Qatar. So and see that how are they performing in the first 6, 7, 8 weeks in the different clubs and as part of the leagues that they are part of, and probably they will be selected by Scaloni or not, right? And what we are going to do is we are going to just go through the squad basis positions and discuss each of the players and their performances, and just have that usual banter and chat about that we do at One Stop Albiceleste.
Vamos, 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 Argentina. ¡Qué boludo!
Hey guys, welcome back to Road to Qatar, the one-stop Albiceleste podcast, vlog, whatever you want to call it. And we had a smashing episode 1, wherein Indranath, who you still see on screen here, with the 2 new faces, and I introduced them shortly. He took us through, Indranath had taken us through for the first pilot episode on his journey of going to 2-3 World Cups. And as is always the case, we ended up talking about a lot more with respect to Argentine football. Today we have a specific agenda, and it's my absolute pleasure to introduce to you 2 distinguished members from the One Stop Albiceleste collective, Supriyo and Srikar. Say hi to our viewers, and of course Indranath. I don't need to introduce him all over again, so just saving some time there. And what we are going to do is we are going to just go through the squad basis positions and discuss each of the players and their performances, and just have that usual banter and chat about that we do at One Stop Albiceleste. So without further ado, starting with the first position, which is, let's say, the goalkeepers, and we have 3-4 contenders there. And any of you want to take a hit? Let's about Rulli. How is Rulli doing? Any points of view, guys?
So Geronimo Rulli started off fairly well. He's played all the games for Real, as far as I know. He's kept 4 clean sheets, so that's a good thing. And he only conceded versus Real Betis and one other team. I'm not very sure, but yeah. So he's doing fairly well. He's playing regularly. But then again, I don't think he's anywhere near contention for the starting spot. Let's hope it stays that way. Let's hope Martinez doesn't get injured. But yeah, Rulli looks like a decent enough backup should the worst happen.
You're right, Srikar. I think I'm looking at some stats. I think Rulli has some 85% save percentage versus Emi, who has slightly lower 67. But that's like you said, like Emi is obviously the first choice keeper. Hopefully we win the first 2 so that the third becomes a dead rubber, and that's where probably Rulli gets a match or some minutes, etc. Maybe. Let's see.
Yeah. Another thing about the intro that you were speaking of, like every other World Cup so far, players come into it either disappointed or extremely happy or something because their clubs have won trophies and stuff like that, right? So they have they already have a weight on their shoulders that if they've had a poor season, the World Cup can be their redemption thing.
Yeah.
This time that pressure is not there. I mean, all of it, the club season basically starts after the World Cup.
Yes.
Nothing before it matters. So this is all a fresh start. All the players will be clean in their minds and stuff. if we can go into this completely injury free, we might see a very mentally free, completely open-minded Argentina.
What about Armani? Like, he's also still in the reckoning, is part of the squad that is going to play the two friendlies. Supriyo, any thoughts on Armani? How has he been doing?
Armani has been pretty okay for his plate and whatever he has been doing. The fact that he is a respected figure in the dressing room. There was an interview that was coming out where the players were talking about him. Although he is not the first choice goalkeeper, but he has a leadership quality in him, and he strings the dressing room together. Also, he is a representative of the local league, so that helps to gain some respect in the dressing room and keep the bonding. So Armani, so far, whatever we have seen in the recent few games for Argentina, he has not done anything silly. He has been pretty okay. So we cannot just say that he's a 50-50 or something like that. No, I think he has been pretty okay. There is nothing wrong, but obviously he cannot be a first choice goalkeeper.
Got it. Supriyo, you look fascinating in your Argentine shirt. The three of us didn't get the memo, I must comment. So now coming back to our favorite, Dibu, right? So, of course, Premier League, that's where my attention, honestly, I don't get an occasion to look at other leagues. Amy's start has been a little patchy, which I think in a way I'm happy. Like, I mean, if he is saving his form for the World Cup and Qatar, I'll be very happy. He had by the way, he had all the starts against 7 games. The last match they won, but he had the most terrible match against his old club Arsenal, and he had a terrible match. Like, I think he did something. He almost got a red card. How he was sort of tackling Jesus, I remember in the game. But they lost the match. Arsenal had a good record till they slipped up against my club. Yeah, but I think I think Dibu has had a scrappy start, but I don't care. Like, as long as he saves his form for Qatar. I don't know what you guys think. I think I would like all of you to. Indranath, why don't you comment on Dibu? How do you think he's shaping up?
I think even Dibu's last session was kind of mixed, but in Copa, he was fascinating.
Yeah.
And he's also where he plays for Argentina. In fact, we keep discussing. When these teams players get together, they are a different kind of, which is great for fans to see. So I just want Dibu to remain fit, physically fit, not injured. Rest, he will perform for the team.
Correct. And just, okay, before we move on to the defenders, just one comment I wanted to make. I think the last time Argentine goalkeeper had this sort of a, aura going into in fact, Gycochea, and my mind goes back to Gycochea, but going into the World Cup, Gycochea wasn't the first preference, right?
No.
So, no. Which is why I'm saying, like, is there a Pompidou was the first
Pompidou was who got injured in the
match. God forbid. I mean, do you think, like, Amy, we almost have taken for granted that he's the starter, etc. If something bad happens, either from form or injury, do you think Rulli is the one then to sort of pick up the?
I have my doubts. I think it could be Armani. In fact, if Armani didn't have COVID, then I don't know if Emi would have come in the first position. But I think second position will still be Armani. But I just hope. Let's not say
Dibu
that.
Is
Yeah, I mean, even for somebody who, I mean, even a Villarreal fan, I think if he was an Argentine fan, would still pick Armani over Rulli. Rulli, he has a lot of talent, but he's a little nervous. He gets shaky. He doesn't project that aura of confidence. Rulli, I mean, you see Martinez, no, he'll go, he'll offend the guy who's taking a penalty.
Yeah, in your face.
So he gets mock him. Yeah, I mean that I'm the boss. You are my bitch attitude. That Rulli doesn't have.
This is great. Again, a great point you bring in. I think Indranath touched upon it, that there are many leaders now on the pitch, and we'll come to it. DePaul, Martinez, the two Martinezes, in fact. So we'll come to it. Yeah. So great.
I think the other goalkeeper we should talk about is if there's 26-member squad, it's probably Juan Musso. Musso is doing well in Italy for Atalanta. Atalanta is right now in second position in the league, but he got a concussion injury last night. Playing against Roma, he got injured and he's expected back in October. So of course he's not considered here anywhere. Yeah. But between he and Rulli, I think at times Musso performs better. But I think with his injury in October, if Argentina takes 4 goalkeepers, then he will be the number 4.
Perfect. Yeah. So I think yes, you're absolutely right. He isn't there in the two friendlies, the squads for the two friendlies, but he can be one of those surprise inclusions if there is a need for a call up because of, God forbid, some reasons, etc. on further up the pitch to cover the defenders, and I think Indranath, again back to you. What do you think of Perez?
So Rohan Perez is actually, if you look at the way Udinese plays now, Udinese is again I think number 3 right now, because Napoli moved to number 1 by beating Milan. So when Udinese started this season, Rohan Perez wasn't a first team player, because I think the manager was trying with a 4-man defense. But now in the last 3 games, I mean, Udinese actually thrashed Roma 4-0, I guess. From that game, they are playing basically 3-man defense, Udinese. And Juan Perez is playing on the left-hand side of the 3-man. He actually played 1 game on the right-hand side as well.
Yeah.
But it's very, and he's actually doing well. If you, last 3 games he started. So he's right now the first 11 player for Udinese. The issue is he's playing well in a 3-man defense, where Argentina is very, very unlikely to play 3-man defense. So where he will fit in is a question, but he is extremely, I think, important player of the squad.
Got it. What I hear you say, and that is again a fascinating insight, that probably Romero, Otamendi, Martinez will start, but he can be a good squad member to sort of come in as a sub, or maybe if there is a not so important rubber, so he will probably be excellent. So I think I hear you. Or maybe if he still continues to surprise, maybe a start, right? So great. Supriyo, what about Medina and our old friend Tagliafico?
Facundo Medina, you see, Facundo Medina is one guy who has been in the reckoning for Argentina squad for a long time. He and Sensi, these 2 players were always in the reckoning. People were asking that why these 2 players are not getting selected.
Yeah.
Medina has a strong start to the season. In fact, the club which he plays, Lens, he had a very strong start to the season. They're in top 4 of the French league. Now he is very good on the ball. He has been consistent, especially against the match recently that concluded against Nantes. He was very good. Had a great 7.5 rating. He is aerially very good. He is good on the ball. He can pass around. He can dribble. So he's in pretty good form, and it's a nice spot for Scaloni, so that he has brought him on.
Yeah.
Tagliafico, I like to say in Ajax, he was not getting good enough match time. So he had to take a transfer, and Lyon is building a project. So Tagliafico just got transferred to Lyon, and he has been pretty good, but there has been some inconsistency, especially the match against Monaco, where he was not good. And he scored 1 goal, but at the same time in the same match, in the first match, he scored 1 goal, but in the same match he considered a penalty. His crossing has been not up to the mark.
The point on Acuna is a perfect segue for me to go to Srikar to ask you 2 questions while you cover the players, the defenders from the league that you most keenly observe, La Liga. Just, I want you to cover 2 points. One, I think my own personal question and aspiration is the right back position. So Montiel and Molina, what's your view? This is how they're faring, and how do they sort of, hold fort in that all important position? And obviously, Pezzella and Acuna, what's your view?
Yeah, so if club form is taken into consideration, it is, I mean, if it were just the club form, Molina might not even get called up to the squad. The 2 matches he's played, he's been dismal. He hasn't been picked again. So it's been 20-25 days since he's had any sight of the squad.
Yeah.
And Atletico Madrid in general have been very iffy. So Simeone on that. Simeone is also facing pressure from the fans for the first time in his long tenure at Atleti. So things aren't all merry there. But yeah, Acuna on the other flank, Acuna has been Sevilla's biggest bright spot. He's probably been their only bright spot.
Okay.
While Montiel has been in and out, and that is understandable because Jesus Navas is their captain, is their oldest player, their old guard, the leader of the dressing room and stuff. So it is natural that he'll play every now and then. And him and Montiel switch roles. Montiel's been okay. He's not been bad, but nothing extraordinary. Our right back spot has always been
questionable.
Has been a slight weakness for us, but Acuna has been brilliant.
Indranath, just a question. So who would you start at right back? I mean, and for context point, I go back to the Copa final. I think Vinicius Junior was a threat, right? Probably in round of 16 or whatever, down someone like Mbappe will be a threat for us, right? So what's your take? I mean, this is clearly the Achilles heel for us, right? So yeah, basis what Srikar just shared, what's your view?
So I think, probably still, I mean, even in the Copa final, before the final, we didn't know who will play.
Yeah.
But when Montiel played, and he played like a fighter.
Yeah.
I mean, he had blood. And
Better, yeah.
And one of the Argentine analysts said that the reason they probably chose Montiel because Montiel, big part of River, he played a lot of tough games in Argentine league and in Latin America. Because of the toughness, they probably got him in, and he like fought. So, but I feel with the current form and everything, I don't, it depends if both of them are fit, and I believe in the group stage games, and the group is not very difficult, so they will be given chance, both of them.
What about our actual old friend Otamendi? How is he doing? Any of you want to?
I think Otamendi is. I used to see that he would play, then he would typically make a very crucial mistake from which he then concede a goal.
Yeah,
he is a very changed defender now. He is something happened to him, maturity or maybe time spent with Ayala and Ayala, the entire group. Samuel, he's a leader again. Among the leaders, he's one of them.
natural.
He doesn't make those mistakes, and he's essentially a starting center back with Romero if everybody is fit.
Correct. And that sort of segues into the Premier League, the duo that is probably killing it one unexpectedly. So Romero, I think he's someone who will never have a very bad season. That's my read of him. I think he will always have a decent game, and Spurs is doing decently well, I would say, in fact quite well. And he has been one of the key cogs at the back. And coming to Licha Martinez, what a surprise. I mean, obviously his ticket size when from the transfer window, everyone at United had a big question. Folks at Arsenal were like, waiting for him to fail, and every pundit wanted him to fail, pointed their fingers at his height, and after the drubbing in the first two games, how has he led the way? And the reports from Carrington is that he is the one who sort of charges someone like Diego Dalot up. So and what a surprise he has been. Like you said, Indranath, I mean, Otamendi and Romero were the first choice, and he has given what a great problem to Scaloni and Messi, right? And he has turned out to be a natural leader. I mean, look at him doing the chest bumps once, Dalot, etc. stops it. Dalot turns around and doesn't even look at Varane. He goes to Licha. So I think that shows that he is a guy who is a real deal. And I don't know what you guys think of Licha. He has been a revelation for me, and probably, like, definitely in Premier League, I have been fascinated by how he has turned out.
So there are very few defenders today in the world who is as good a ball player as Licha. He is so comfortable with the ball.
Yes.
His height was a questionable, a lot of pundits said, but he's technically very good.
Yes.
So he has that leadership. He keeps that, the team changed with him and Varane in the center back. Manchester United is performing way better. The Old Trafford is the supporters are shouting Argentina. It was one guy. So and I mean, I don't want any injury problem, but having him, he might, and he is a versatile player.
Yeah.
I mean, had he been, an Arsenal player, most probably he would have played as a left back, not in the central defense.
Yes, thank God.
So, and he could also, if needed, be a holding midfielder. Correct. So players like him, he may not get a lot of chance in Qatar, but he is a real deal for future.
Supriyo, any thoughts on the defense? Anything else that you want to point out?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about Lisandro Martinez actually. Lisandro Martinez's biggest advantage that he has is obviously his aggressiveness, on the ball quality, but the best thing which transcended to Manchester United is Erik ten Hag. He knows him. Erik ten Hag knows him from the Ajax days, and that's why he went into the squad as a starter. And just that he got that much confidence that to start in the Manchester United when United was not doing very well initially. There was some problems, and there was criticism about his height. Jamie Carragher was telling so maybe he's good, but maybe he doesn't have the height. But later on, with the help of obviously Erik ten Hag, you see the difference. He is winning aerial duels. He's jumping ahead of the tallest strikers. He's charging Mohamed Salah. So the coach is a very important part. And to some extent, I feel the same thing has happened with Otamendi, because when he went to Benfica, he went as a reject from most probably Premier League. I mean, he's done and dusted. Then he went to Benfica. After going to Benfica, slowly, initially he had a very rough period, bad period, but slowly he started turning up. I personally believe that this combination will always be started on the field. Lisandro Martinez, yes, obviously we need to see more of him in the national jersey, but I believe that it's a it's a competition. It's a fair competition.
Yes, so that's what I'm going to put you in a corner, each one of you, and say who are your two CBs against Saudi Arabia. Choose the two. You have to. There is no option.
Yeah, Romero, Otamendi.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'll stick to the same. Romero,
Otamendi. And so Supriyo, what about you?
Yeah, Romero, Otamendi, obviously.
I obviously will start Martinez. I love him for what he's doing in the colors. Let's see what happens in the two friendlies.
I love him no less, but yeah.
I love him no less. But we have to see what he does in the friendlies.
Yes.
It may happen that he does something really good and
correct.
No, regardless of that, first time since I've been an Argentina fan, and after Sabia, this is the first time that Argentina feels like they have a settled, a decent
back four. Touch wood. Yeah.
Not just the back four. I mean, Lo Celso, Guido, Paredes, and Depol in the midfield. I mean, the whole squad. It looks like there's an alignment to it. I mean, one player chop and change at best, but I don't want to touch it. Till it falls apart.
In the first episode, Indranath and I were crying on exactly this point, and then we said touch wood, and we ended it there because we don't want to jinx it by saying it again and again. But we all sense and we are with you, Srikar. Yeah. Hey guys, so because this episode was so nice and genuinely we know that you guys are attention deficient folks. So in fact, the good news is it will not be one but two episodes that will come to you where we break the squad down, but we do analyze the entire squad and share with you the beautiful points of view that our panel members here have shared, right? So
Vamos, Argentina. ¡Qué boludo!